Today's episode is sponsored by the New Zealand Homeopathic Society. They're a charitable organisation dedicated to raising awareness and supporting the growth of homeopathy in New Zealand. You can become a member and receive amazing benefits, such as access to an online Introduction to Homeopathy course for beginners from the College of Natural Health and Homeopathy. You'll also have access to the members-only section of their website, where you'll find past journals and articles to download or browse. And you'll receive their quarterly newsletter via email, as well as a variety of articles on homeopathy, up-to-date information on homeopathic news, tips on how to use remedies for common ailments and upcoming events. Plus, you'll receive 10% discount on remedies purchased from supporting pharmacies, Similimum and Celine Homeopathics. And if you're a book lover like me, be sure to check out their online bookshop. It is amazing. To become a member of the New Zealand Homeopathic Society or to purchase some of their books, visit www.homeopathy.ac.nz. That's homeopathy.ac.nz. Membership is currently only available to people living in New Zealand. Today we speak with marketing guru and homeopathy home prescribing rock star, Amy Radunz. Amy has used homeopathy with amazing success in her home, and I know today's episode is going to really inspire our home prescribing homies. I have a special place in my heart for Amy because she was the one that convinced me to use my name as my business name. I used to be called EK Health because I figured my name was too hard to spell and nobody knows what homeopathy is. So a big shout out to Amy. Now I proudly display the Eugenie Kruger homeopathy brand with pride. Also be sure to check out Amy's podcast called Rise, where you'll find her interview with me on episode 2. Happy listening.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and a very warm welcome to Homeopathy Hangouts. Today, we get to hang with my lovely friend, Amy Radunz, and she has just recently moved all the way over to Queensland, but you were here in Perth for a long time. Hey, Amy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
A very warm welcome. It's so lovely to have you on. And Amy's just recently had me on her new podcast called Rise. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
It's such a pleasure. Now, we moved to Perth, about 6 years ago now, and you were actually one of the people that I met very early on in my journey here in Perth. And Amy also, I just have to give a shout out, was the one that really empowered me. So my business was called EK Health for a very long time. And when I thought it was time for a bit of a rebrand, I reached out to Amy because she is the marketing guru. And I said, Amy, what do you think I should do? And she said, you need to use your full name and you need to put the word homeopathy in there. And I was like, people can't even pronounce my name, let alone spell it. And nobody knows what homeopathy is. And Amy's like, no, you need to do this. This is very important. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust you because when it comes to all things marketing, you are the guru and I trust you implicitly. And I just really want to take a moment to thank you because I wasn't sure that was the right thing to do, but because I trust you so much, I went with it. And now I'm kicking myself that I didn't do it sooner. So I just want to say thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, anyway. But I want to ask you, Amy, how did you first get into homeopathy? How were you introduced to it?
So first was introduced to homeopathy when I was pregnant with our first son. So we chose to not vaccinate. And so in preparation for his arrival, we came across Dr. Golden's homeoprophylaxis kit. So he was our first introduction to it all, but didn't really understand how it all kind of worked, even though we did a bit of his course and we had friends that were using the kit, didn't really understand how it'll work. We just used it. So it wasn't until I met you when our eldest, I think, was about 13, 14 months. And I was like, I get this now. Cool. Yeah, let's jump on this.
Amazing. And you have some great stories to share of how homeopathy has helped you during this journey you've got a great story with your son, especially. Do you want to maybe share that with us? And we'll start there.
Yeah, sure. Yep. So our son, Ollie, our eldest, had a number of anaphylactic reactions. The first was when he was 10 months old to fish. And then the next one was when he was 14 months old to cashews. And so we had a few incidents where we were using an EpiPen for him. And then when he was, about 14, 15 months, I met you and I did your course and found out that we can treat anaphylaxis with homeopathy. I was like, what? What is this? Okay. So I took little notes down of like using APIS, got APIS from you that day. And a couple months later, he had his first reaction to cashews, and I used APIS. And I was, as you are in a situation when your child is in like a life critical situation, I couldn't remember everything that you had told me and how to dose him. So I remember messaging you on Facebook saying, I think you were away camping, so you didn't actually reply, but I was like, what do I do with APIS? And I'm Googling and I couldn't find all of the answers. So I was just giving him APIS and didn't know what I was doing. We ended up going to hospital anyway with him that day because I wasn't sure that I was dosing correctly. But when you had informed me, okay, this is what you do, dose him every minute for 10 minutes, the next time it happened, I was prepared and I was so calm. And I remember watching him. So first he gets hives and his eyes blow up and he says, spicy, spicy. His tongue goes all tingly. And so I started dosing him one every minute. I pulled the timer out on my phone. And then the hives just started to dissipate and he stopped scratching. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then after about 15 minutes, it just all was gone. And I was taking photos and I was sending photos to my partner, Chris, who was away at work, going, oh my God, this stuff actually works. Oh my God, we don't need an EpiPen. And there's been incident after incident of him having reactions now. And it's just like treating anything with homeopathy. It's just like dose them up. There's no stress, there's no anxiety. And, when we say to people, oh, Ollie's anaphylactic to nuts and fish, like, oh my God, that's so scary. I'm like, no, it's not. It's really not. It's like, it's just feels so freeing. And I actually feel so angry and so sorry that other families don't have access to this, because I know how scary it can be. And I just don't have that with our son around this condition. I wish it was so publicly made aware to other families that have this condition as well.
Amazing. And as you're saying this, I'm just always thinking that I just have to make it really clear for the general public. We're not saying don't use an EpiPen. We're not saying don't go to your doctor. We're not saying don't go to emergency room. We're just saying homeopathy is there to help you on your way to going and seeking medical help if you feel that that's what you need. But like you say, I wish it was something that could just be more widely known, and hopefully, we're going to get there. But I've never had to, I've done my first aid courses, so I know how to use an EpiPen, but I've never physically had to go and do it or, have it done to me. But I can imagine it must be pretty traumatic, especially if you're a little child having this needle inserted into you and having this whole experience. So if there is something that is safe and natural and non-traumatizing, why wouldn't we use that first?
Yeah, exactly. And that was I was actually in tears this year. Ollie started kindy this year, and I was in tears trying to get him into kindy because the school would not accept APIS as the first stage of treatment. I'm happy, and we always do have an EpiPen around. We have one in the house and in our cars, and I was happy to have an EpiPen in his backpack at school, but they would not accept APIS as the first step. And I was in tears trying to speak to the GP, trying to speak to the school, and trying to get around the current barrier of it's only an EpiPen. EpiPen is the only solution. And I'm like, it's not. So I'm with you in fighting this fight to help this become more aware, because there could just be so much trauma avoided for both child and for parent if this was to be just known as the first step.
Absolutely. And not even to talk about costs. If you buy an EpiPen unsubsidized, it's about $100 or something like that. If it's subsidized, I think, I don't know, you would probably know, but if it's subsidized, it's maybe $40 or $50.
I think it's about 40. Yeah, I can't remember now. Yeah.
And a homeopathic remedy is going to cost you, about $16. And if you're just going to need EpiPen you can only use once, but your homeopathic remedy you can use, you've got like 100 doses in it. So really a few doses that you're going to need for that reaction is probably going to cost you maybe about $1 versus $40 for the EpiPen. So it's extremely cost effective, and you get to have a nice little sugar pill as opposed to a needle in your leg. So it seems like a no-brainer.
Exactly. And you know what I also love is because as well, Ollie's allergic to milk. So he's allergic to the casein in milk. And sometimes he vomits when he has casein. And sometimes he'll have hives as well. So the reaction is similar to when he's having an anaphylactic reaction. And so if there's like milk hidden in a food and we don't realize, he can be having it look like he could be having an anaphylactic reaction. So the thing that I love with homeopathy as well is we can give him that no matter what it is. Maybe it's not an anaphylaxis and it's okay. But, if you're giving an EpiPen, the next step is then to call in an ambulance and take them to hospital. So it's quite extreme, right? When you're not actually sure if they're having an anaphylactic reaction. So yeah, I love that it doesn't matter if it's not an anaphylactic reaction. We can still give him that treatment. Yeah.
And of course, that's all fine and dandy seeking that medical treatment if you're somewhere in the city or, somewhere with medical access. But in Australia, we've got such vast open spaces, and actually getting that medical help is not always really practical. So just having homeopathy there to, as a first line, it's just so empowering. Well, I don't know. How would you describe, Amy, using homeopathy in your daily life? What does it mean to you?
It's kind of fun, actually. Just over the last year, it has become really fun. And I guess this is what I was showing you before this interview is, previously homeopathy I used just for the kids and just for or birth. I found, it was quite profound for me during birth. I have 3 children, and for the first birth, I didn't use any homeopathy. For the second birth, I used a bit more homeopathy. So I used like arnica during labor and a little bit after labor. And then I can't remember what for all the afterbirth pains. And then the last pregnancy, I was like, okay, give me everything. What do I need? So I had like a list of everything. And I was like to Chris, okay, give me arnica like every half an hour during labor. Like, so I was really like regimented. And then after labor, I was like, okay, taking arnica. And, it took me about 6 weeks to heal after my first. After my second, it took me about 2.5, 3 weeks. And I was like, whoa, that was quick. After my third, it took me 10 days. And I was like, oh Amazing. My goodness, I feel so good. And I was like, I don't know, like, obviously I haven't had 3 children without homeopathy. So I can't compare if it's just my body knows what to do. But, I was getting a lot of feedback from mothers around me going like, oh my God, like you're walking around and you're doing everything so normally and you've just had a baby like a few days ago. And I was like, I know, yeah, you got to try homeopathy.
Well, I can completely attest to that. Like both my kiddies, I used homeopathy all throughout pregnancy, all throughout birth. They're both home births. And I very stupidly forgot to get some pads for after the birth. And my husband was like, I'm not going to go buy you pads. So about 8 hours after I gave birth, I drove to the shops and walked around the shops and did some grocery shopping and bought myself some pads. And that's just, the power of arnica and, a natural birth is that you're able to do that. I was on such a high though, just that, all those endorphins all through my body. I was walking through that supermarket with a huge smile on my face. I'm sure people were like, what is this woman on? But yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. Yeah, I actually think that in my euphoria, I said to the checkout lady, oh, I just gave birth 8 hours ago. And she's like, what? But yeah,
I thought you were crazy.
Arnica is amazing for all the mums listening during birth, like taking it every half an hour. I was taught every 2 hours, but I would give it every hour or even every half an hour. It prevents fatigue. It prevents a retained placenta. It's just all that stuff going on in your body. Arnica is just amazing for that, and just incredibly quickly speeds up the healing afterwards as well. So I'm glad you mentioned that about the arnica.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, especially over the last 6 months, I've just, really had fun with homeopathy, like just exploring what are its capabilities, especially around all the emotional side of things. So yes, with the kids, but also with myself. So as you mentioned, we moved in December from Perth over to the other side of Australia in Queensland.
We won't hold it against you. Maybe a little bit.
And yeah, I have really had like all these intuitive messages since I've been here. So I had an intuitive message in January saying to me, "You've got cancer." And I was like, "Huh, interesting." And this memory came back of about 5 years ago of one of my staff members telling me that she had skin cancer and she used a product called Black Salve, and that's how. And then this whole spiritual awakening had happened from using Black Salve. And she showed me all these pictures, and then the cancer fell out. And I was like, wow. And so I had this message that I needed to get Black Salve. I had all of this emotion bottled up from heartbreak about 5 years ago, and I just intuitively knew it had turned into cancer and I needed to get it out. And so I got some Black Salve and I applied it on 2 moles, one over my heart because I just felt like it was over my heart because it was to do with heartbreak, and then one on my back that was also in the heart region. And within 12 hours, it started reacting, the one over my heart, not the one on my back. And so I was like, oh, this is it. This is the one that I need to release. And so after about 2 weeks, it started to kind of come out, but there was a bit of it kind of just didn't do anything. It kind of just went stagnant. So I started Googling what is a homeopathy remedy that helps to release anger, because I knew it was anger that needed to come out. And so I came across, and you'll have to help me pronounce it,
Staphysagria.
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
And I actually had it in my homeopathy kit from treating Ollie with his eczema when he was like 18 months old. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll take this. And within 24 hours, I think it was 24 hours, it all started to come out. So, and I had also reapplied Black Salve again. So I reapplied Black Salve, took the staph, and yeah, within 24 hours, it started blistering and like looking juicy, like it was coming out. And then within 46 hours that you could see the cancer kind of getting pushed out of the skin. And then 4 days later, oh my goodness, all the anger that was coming out. I was like getting so angry at my children, getting so angry at my partner, Chris. And I remember sitting in the chair in the afternoon saying to Chris, you need to take the kids. I'm really grumpy. I think I used the word grumpy. And he's like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I just need some space. And so he took the kids out. And then that night I was like, oh, it's all the cancer, all the emotions coming out. It like made sense. And then the following day was a bit of a break emotionally. And then the day after that was sadness. All of this sadness just came out, and I was just weeping over like minor things. So a friend of mine had left Australia, and I saw a post of her leaving Australia. And yes, I was sad that she was leaving, but I just started wailing, and I knew what was happening at this point. So I just sat down and I let myself cry. And Chris had just come home from the markets with the kids, and he's like, what's wrong? I was like, it's all the cancer. It's all coming out. And he's like, oh, you're okay. I was like, I know. I'm just letting it out. It's like, okay. and then that afternoon we were in the park and we were with friends, and they had a little girl, and their father works away. And so she was saying goodbye on the phone. And so the father was like, oh, goodbye, sweetheart. And she's like, oh, goodbye, Dad. Love you. And then I just started wailing again in the park. And the mother of the daughter and Chris was like to me, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I just need to cry. I'm like, okay, you cry. So, and then the next day, the cancer fell out.
Wow.
Yeah. It was amazing. And so that was in February. And since then I've been playing, like exploring the Narayani remedies and the ones that are all around self-love and spiritual uplifting. And oh my goodness, I am in flow, like completely in flow. My business is finally in like alignment, and I can just feel it, and my partner can feel it, that things are about to burst. Like, it feels amazing. So, yeah.
That's so incredible, Amy. I love that you're sharing that with us so openly. Thank you so much. And I actually just shared with you on the podcast before we started is the TGA, which is the Therapeutic Goods Australia. I just saw an email come through from them this week that they fined somebody something like $25,000 for selling black salve, which, you know, it absolutely infuriates me because it's a safe, natural product that is able to prevent somebody from having a surgery because it just so naturally is able to remove this cancer. And if we look at pharmaceutical medication, which is one of the leading causes of death in the world, it boggles my mind that natural medicine gets such a hard time when we're not the ones killing people left, right, and center, and that you've actually managed to turn this into such an incredible emotional, physical, spiritual growth opportunity for you by going through this process. And I also just wanted to add in there, Amy was mentioning about the Narayani remedies. We have a podcast with Namisha Parekh a few episodes back. You'll have to go scroll back a little bit about the Narayani remedies. So I think she's going to be sharing with us a little bit about that, hopefully, but, her journey with the Narayani remedies. But if you're not sure what she's talking about, you're going to have to scroll back a few episodes and have a listen. But how have you used these remedies, and tell us about what that's led to now, because you have some exciting things in the pipeline.
Yeah. So I ordered a few weeks ago from you, a couple Narayani remedies. So the throat chakra one, the meditation one, the spiritual upliftment, and the peace and love. So I just knew that something was coming. As soon as we moved to Toowoomba, I just knew something expansive was coming. So I wanted remedies that were going to help me expand. So I knew that there were things I needed to speak up and out about. So that's why I got the throat chakra one, and all the spiritual upliftment and the love ones were all talking about expansion and I think it says like your potential, something about your potential. So I was like, oh yes, this is what I want to tap into. So I started using them, and I already had a few things in momentum with my business. So I knew I was going to start a podcast. So that was all obviously about speaking up. So I started using the throat chakra. Every time I'm doing a podcast recording, I'm like, okay, take the throat chakra.
I should do that.
Because I know it's going to help me express what I need to express. And I'm also hoping then it will help the other person express what they need to express as well. So I've been taking that. Also, a few difficult conversations have needed to come up around money, like within my family. And so I took that around a few conversations around money, and it had just felt so much lighter. And I just noticed that the conversation wasn't kind of stuck in old patterns, because it was conversation with my parents around money. So obviously, when you talk about those sort of things, you kind of revert back to childhood dynamics. So I took that when I was having those difficult conversations. And when I've been doing meditations, I've been taking the meditation remedy and the spiritual upliftment remedy. And what has kind of manifested for me is this deep knowing in what I'm actually here to do. So I've been having all these intuitive downloads more intensely. Again, hard to know if it's like the homeopathy or like if it's just me coming into flow, but I'm going to give credit to homeopathy, definitely. And I just get messages. Okay, you need to message this person who I barely know and say this to them. So I'll get out of the shower if the messages come in the shower, and I'll send a Facebook message, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm messaging you, but I feel like you're having issues in your business around this, and I need to help you. I'm not going to charge you. I just need to help you. And so things like that have been happening, and the flow has been crazy. So I just released, I had this download 2 weeks ago that I needed to create this program for people to gain clarity on their purpose and what they're here to do, and how to create a business aligned with their soul's purpose. And within 2 weeks, I created this 3-month and 3 lots of programs, and the downloads were just all coming through me. I was working late at night until midnight, just writing everything. And I've already started working with these clients, and these downloads only came 2.5 weeks ago.
Wow.
One of my clients who I worked with, she was a single mom who was so stressed she couldn't afford to pay her mortgage this month. And she has turned everything around, and she's about to put a house on the market, and the property of her house is over 100,000 more than she had originally realized. So she's in the next week, she's about to get this whole abundance of money come in. So yeah, the ripple effects of all of this is amazing. So yeah,
And
I'm in high because of this homeopathy range at the moment.
It's amazing. And, people might think, 2 weeks, that's a very short time. But I actually believe that when you are in that flow, time is just, what's the word? So just an irrelevant concept
Dissolves.
Anyway. Yeah, it really does. And then when you are in this flow, these things happen much faster than the limitations that we put on ourselves of how quickly something like this should actually take. And like you say, it could just be coinkydink. You have just moved and, you're in this flow and you've done all this work already. But, it could just be that. But potentially the remedies have, played a part in that and helped you along. And I always think that is the downfall of homeopathy, that it works so gently and on such a subtle effect within our energy bodies that often it doesn't get the credit for everything that it does, because people go, oh no, it's just my body just would have done that anyway, or just, my body just would have healed, or this would have happened anyway. But there's definitely a lot of coincidences.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
That's amazing. And, at the end of the day, you were still the one that had to sit down and create all this, and you made that happen. So, you need credit for that. Just while we're at it, how do people get hold of this course and this information if they want to, if they feel called to reach out to you?
Yeah, so it's on my website, amyradunz.com. amyradunz.com, and yeah, it's all in there. So yeah, especially if you're in the intuitive and spiritual space, I think you will find it's delicious.
Yes, excellent. And I just have to give a shout out to your podcast as well. There's only a few episodes up there, but I know it's going to be something amazing, because in it you share kind of like life hacks of all the things that the amazing achievements that you've had in your life, and people along the way that have helped you in that journey. And you have podcasts with them and share that to actually just help everybody else around you rise as well to that new level of consciousness that we need to get ahead in these crazy times that we're in. Do you want to maybe share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So it's called the Rise Podcast, and the intention behind it was to help people rise above their challenges in life, to rise above challenges in all areas, whether it's business, health, love, or just your own mind and everything you'll face kind of challenging inside of your mind. So yeah, over my journey, I guess, over the last 12 years, I've come in contact with so many incredible people. I used to run large business events and well-being events where I'd bring in all these incredible speakers. It was exhausting. And I just, having 3 children, don't have that capacity anymore. So this, I found, is just my next beautiful gift to the world, to be able to share with people all the knowledge that I have acquired and am still acquiring from all these incredible people that, like yourself, that have all of these empowering messages and pieces of knowledge that we can tap into.
Mm-hmm. And you are allowed to name drop, because I'm pretty sure I've seen a photo of you with Oprah, right?
Oh yeah. yeah. Oprah, yeah.
And it wasn't a cardboard cutout. It was the real Oprah.
Yeah, it was the real Oprah. Yeah, that was an awesome manifestation. Yeah, I had her on my my vision board that year, and then I got to meet her in person at the end of that year. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. So Amy, what is the message that you want to share with our listeners about homeopathy?
Oh, just to give it a go and just to try it out and to do your course. You have to definitely do Eugenie's course, because I feel like, that just provides the foundation to be able to then be able to know how to apply it to your family. Yeah.
Thanks for that. It is on YouTube. It's actually on YouTube now, and it's only half an hour because the original one was an hour and 40 minutes, and you had to jump through a couple of hoops to watch it. And so we thought, well, the idea is to get the message out there. So let's put it on YouTube and let's make it half an hour and let's make it fun with subtitles and slides, and you can download the slides and everything else. And so, yeah, thanks for that, Amy. Anything else you want to share about to our listeners about homeopathy?
Spread the word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spread the word. The more people that we can get out there and using homeopathy, I feel like that's the only way we're going to be able to break down the barriers to entry for everyone else. Yeah,
absolutely. And what's your top 3 favorite remedies and why?
Definitely Apis, because obviously it has saved our son's life so many times. Apis, and I am in love with the Narayani spiritual upliftment remedy and the love and peace remedy at the moment. So my 3.
Well, we actually have just created a Narayani consciousness kit, and it's got 10 of the remedies in it, and it's only $65, and it comes in a little pouch, and it's got all of those that you've mentioned in it, just for those listeners. They won't be listed on the website though. You'll have to order them as a custom kit because I think, if the TGA is going to be finding people for black salve, they're probably not going to be very happy if I am selling remedies that are called spiritual upliftment and, Christ consciousness and removal of entities and all these strange and interesting things. But, they're such incredible remedies. And as you can see, they're obviously making a big, big difference in people's lives. And I can literally not believe that I didn't think of taking the Narayani throat chakra remedy before an episode. So I have got 4 more recordings today. I'm going to take a dose right now. So thank you, Amy, for that.
Awesome.
It was so lovely to speak with you, and please continue doing your amazing work. And thank you for being in my life and for everything that you've done for me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being in my life.
All the best. Chat soon.
Bye.